Welcome to the Daily Pour podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Lopez, and this is the place where we dive into all the big and small moments, from challenges to celebrations and every single thing in between. Each week, we will have heartfelt conversations, grow in faith, and pour out a daily dose of encouragement that's just for you, my friend. You are always welcome here, so get ready to laugh, learn, and leave inspired. We're pouring out the good stuff right here, right now. Let's go. You guys are in for a real treat. I'm sitting down with my good friend, Charleton Churchill. He and his wife, Kelly, are really good friends of Brian and I, my husband. And we have done a lot of life together, a lot of ministry. We're in the same church, same small group. Our kids are friends with just really good family connections. We love you guys. You guys might know Charleton Churchill if you're tuning in as a world-known pro wedding and adventure elopement photographer. It's what you are. But we just love you as Charleton Churchill. It's who you are. First of all, too, I just want to thank you for being on the podcast.
Thanks. I'm glad to be here and see if I can help anybody out.
Yeah. Tell us about you. Who is Charleton Churchill?
Charleton Churchill, that's a deep question. Charleton Churchill is a lonely man. No, I'm kidding. He's not lonely. No, I'm an adventure wedding photographer, family man, a man of faith, got 3 girls, 3 beautiful daughters inside and out. 2 in college, 1 in high school, and my wife is a teacher, and so I love my family. And growing up, actually, I didn't have much of that. I think we lived in a mobile home park for part of my high school years, which is quite humbling. And I didn't know if I'd have a family growing up. I didn't know what life would look like. So part of my being who I am, I'm just a complete thankful person. Everything I do, I'm just thankful for. I feel like I don't deserve anything that I have. It's just crazy that I have a family of it's just God's blessings. So yeah, man of faith. I came to know the Lord early in high school, and I guess we'll talk about that later. But my faith in the Lord is probably my staple in my life, my family. And of course, a part of who I am is I like adventure. I like exploring. I like hiking. Yesterday I was out at Lake Taboo by myself, but it was nice. It was just on the paddleboard. And I was paddling, getting exercise, but then I laid down and I just stared at the sky. And I was just so thankful, like, wow, look at this. It's just, there was birds chirping. Nobody was on the lake. It was just me. And I was just praying. I just kept saying, God, thank you so much. I'm just a thankful guy. So that's kind of a little bit of who I am. Hiking, exploring, reading books, audible books. Yeah, it's pretty much a little bit of who I am.
Yeah. As far as favorite things, so you love hiking, adventure. When it comes to your hobbies and interests, what are the things that stand out to you?
Yeah. If you come to my house, I have a library. I love reading books, audible books. I just went through Matt Brown's book this last week. It's really good. I think it's called something about miracles. I'll have to look it up later, but powerful. I love reading when I'm traveling in an airplane or a car. But yeah, hiking, exploring, anything out in the wilderness, just enjoying nature is kind of a big one. I love taking classes. I went to school last semester, took 15 units on my off season. That was fun. Yeah, just outdoor activities. And then, of course, my wife and my kids, we love going to Hawaii. That's a big one. If we could afford it twice a year, it'd be great. But we definitely love the beach, hanging out with friends and family. You and Brian hanging out with you guys. And getting involved at the church is a big one, too. I think for me, not just about going to church, it's about being the church. Mm-hmm. So for me, some way I can get involved. And right now we're just helping out with the youth until they get the youth pastor here.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Thanks for stepping up. You've been in there a lot with those junior high students.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's been great.
Talk to us about your faith journey. How did you come to know Christ, and what has that looked like for you?
All right. So I didn't grow up in the church, but my junior year of high school, I got invited to a camp, a winter camp. And, I wasn't going to church. I wasn't part of the whole Christian thing, but decided to go. And I think there I was listening to the speaker. His name was Larry Bubb. I actually remember his name because that's the guy who was pretty pivotal in my life. He was a speaker. He was dressed in jeans and regular clothes like me. And I'm like, wow, this guy's a regular guy like me. And that weekend at camp is when I left home with Jesus. I told my family, to my friends, I'm like, I'm gonna live differently. I'm gonna live like Jesus did. I'm gonna try to do this Christian thing. And after that point, man, it was all full gas, full throttle, and I never looked back. And to this day, my life is completely different because of Jesus. And I think before that time, it was experimenting, because I think during senior year and junior year, kind of pivotal moment, trying to figure out who you are, kind of experimenting with things, so alcohol, things that teenagers kind of experiment with. And after that camp, I was like, you know what? No more. I'm not going to do any of that stuff. Cold turkey, just going straight to Jesus. Stop experimenting with all that stuff and playing around, and started getting serious about God. And then I went to a Christian college and went down to Southern California and went to a church called Harvest, and they went through the Bible. And I started really learning the Bible like really well in college, getting involved, was in a band down there. So that was a big foundation for me growing up, was having Jesus in my life.
Yeah. I've known you for a lot of years now, and I feel like the entirety of the time that I've known you, you've been all in
Yes.
for Jesus. And then I remember you were speaking at youth group one night, because we have all been hanging out with the youth and the teens, but you were sharing your story, and you had come to faith with a handful of friends. And I remember laughing and thinking it was so funny, but you were talking about how all of you were like, we want to be sold out for Jesus.
Yes.
And if we cuss, then you would like punch each other
Yes.
or something. Can you tell? That
Oh
was
my
so
gosh.
funny to me. But you are one of those all in people.
Yes, and that's one of the things I left out when you first asked me, like, hey, who's Charleton? I was like, you know what, I'm an all-in guy. It's like if I want something, I go after it. And so when I was in high school, I just become a Christian. We had 4 of our friends come to know the Lord as well. And one of the things that we were really good at was cussing. That was my spiritual gift at the time. Yeah. But it was really hard to stop. And I probably, learned it from my family and my friends. We just that's just our lingo. And we're gonna try to cut this in half if we can. So our challenge was, okay, if you decide to say a cuss word, all of our friends get to hit you in the arm as hard as they can, and that's very painful. So after you say something, you kind of like hold your mouth and like, oh no, here it comes, and they all get to hit you, and it hurt because they delivered a powerful punch, and that kind of helped me actually stop cussing.
Well, it's an all in kind of way to live.
Yeah, I would not encourage that. I would not encourage that out with the kids, because that could be worse.
Yeah. What led you into photography? So more specifically, also like adventure weddings. What was that journey?
Yeah. I think I was planning to climb Mount Everest, and I had trained for it. I had a list of things like what I need to buy. I actually made a list of the name of the brand jacket, the boots, everything I needed to climb Mount Everest, and I put the pictures next to it, and I said the cost of it, and then I would pay off that thing and buy that thing, and I kept saving up, and a camera was part of that. So I bought a camera to take everywhere with me while I was hiking on my journeys on Mount McKinley, on Rainier. Everywhere I went, I took my camera to learn. And then I got involved with another guy who was photographing weddings and portraits, and I shot with him a few times. And then 2008 hit, and that's when the economy dropped, and I was part-time. I was actually doing youth ministry at the time, and I got dropped to part-time pay and part-time work. So I started doing photography as a compensation, and then from there, it just took off, and that became my full-time job. Actually, I got let off. So yeah, and then I started doing weddings and pets and families and babies and everything under the sun. And then I still wanted to climb Mount Everest, but it, wasn't in the cards with the family. But I figured if I could take a wedding couple up to the base camp of Mount Everest, that would be pretty cool, and that would be pretty life-changing, and not just for me, but for the business and for wedding photography in general. And so I took a couple up there in 2015, and that's when the earthquake struck, and that destroyed Nepal and all the Kathmandu. I think 10,000 people died, and that was a pivotal time for my business, because it did go viral in the wrong way, obviously, because people died. And there's a whole other story for that one for later. And then I went back in 2017 and took a couple up there. And and I'll talk more about that later, but that was definitely a change in the whole wedding industry, was a bride with the boots and backpack,
Yeah.
which before that wasn't a big thing at all. And our sponsors, with Nikon and Profoto and a bunch of other people and businesses who were a part of the sponsorship, it was like a big thing to have our couple in wedding attire and hiking boots and stuff. That was pretty big. So
Had anyone at that point ever been married on Everest? Has that been a thing?
Yeah. I mean, there's been a few that were like in their puff jackets, just up there, just saying vows, but no one had ever done it before with their wedding dress and a tuxedo. And my couple was the first, and that was pretty huge because, I had never seen anybody get married up there in wedding attire. It's totally cold. I mean, it was -5 at one point for us.
Oh my gosh.
My second groom in 2017, he was having some altitude issues, not breathing, so we got him on oxygen. And that was really challenging for the 2 weeks we were up there. Yeah, it was crazy. But yeah, that wedding went viral. And then from there, all these adventure weddings started happening. People were calling me. It's mostly what I'm being booked for now is these adventure weddings. But I do regular weddings too. It's just the ones that after Mount Everest kind of pulled that direction.
Yeah. So you've had a lot of adventure on these different weddings and elopements and that kind of thing. Would you say that your Everest experience was the scariest or most unpredictable thing that has happened on a shoot?
Man, I could tell you so many stories.
Yeah. You should tell us a few. Tell us a few.
I mean, obviously the Mount Everest one, yes, that's probably the biggest one. The earthquake was probably, I'm trying to think. Yeah, the earthquake was scary because when that earthquake struck in 2015, and it's on Netflix, if you watch the catastrophe on Mount Everest, that's kind of the story. I was up there at near base camp when that happened. But yeah, when that earthquake struck, there was a sound in the earth coming out. It was like escalating. It was getting louder. And I thought, is this part of Nepal, or is this, I didn't know what it was. I was just freaking out. And people were screaming, jumping out of windows. I mean, some of our yaks were falling off cliffs. Houses were imploding. Rocks were falling around me. I was on a hillside, and these rocks were tumbling down. I'm thinking, great, is this whole town going to fall on me? So we're all running around. I'm trying to figure out where the earthquake's happening. And, it's just rumbling. The whole ground's shaking and rolling, and it's just mass chaos. That was pretty scary. And I didn't know if I was going to die or not. I'm thinking, okay, Lord, you're in charge. But at this moment, it looks like I'm going to, I might perish. CNN, we had a bunch of news reporters calling us, trying to get insight, and that was pretty dramatic. That was a scary one. But the fun ones, and there's a lot of fun, scary ones too. But I've had couples who were, grizzly bears. We've had black bears come up to us. I had one bride who was on a rock on a waterfall. She was on the waterfall area and was facing the waterfall. We were away from the whole crowds, and her eyes just widened. Her face got white, and she just said, "Oh my!" And then she said it. She was just like freaking out, looking behind me. So I'm thinking, "Oh, please don't be a grizzly bear." So I turn around, and sure enough, it's this huge it's a black bear, but it was a huge black bear walking towards us. Just this big paws, big arms, just
my gosh,
just coming towards us real slow. He's looking at us like no fear. I'm in Yosemite, and those bears are fine, but in Glacier National Park or the Grand Tetons, those bears are huge, and they're not afraid of humans. So they're coming up to me. He's coming up to me, and I'm starting to clap my hands as loud as possible. I'm like, "Get out of here!" Just yelling at it, like screaming to act tough and buff and stuff. And this bear's not stopping. I'm like, okay. I'm on a rock, perched up. He's below me. He's looking at me, and I'm like, clapping my hands, acting real strong and tough, trying to get him away. And he stops and looks at me. And then he keeps walking past me. I'm like, okay, good. But I still keep clapping and trying to act all tough and stuff to protect my couple, but also, just to take care of things. That was pretty scary. We've had grizzly bears. We've had with her cubs just coming through the water right behind my couple. So many crazy moments. Probably the biggest story I tell a lot is the hornet's nest. Where I had a bride and groom, the groom was holding the bride up, and we heard a bunch of bees somewhere. We're like, is it in the trees? Like, where's this sound of bees coming from, or hornets or whatever? Yellow jackets, actually. So the groom's like, let's just get out of here. It's in Tahoe. It's a dry season. they're here somewhere, but we'll just leave this area. So he's like, let me just pick her up one more time and we'll do a photo. So he picks her up and then drops her. And when she dropped, we heard a crack, like she went through the ground. We heard like a pop sound. No. It was like a branch breaking, but instead of a branch, it was a whole hornet's nest
on the ground,
or yellow jacket's nest in the ground, right below us. So she popped through the ground. She had a wedding dress. It was like a buttercup dress, and you can hear once she broke that nest. I mean, it was a nest. The sound of angry bees coming out, just attacking, and it's like the sound like loud. And the groom's there, and I'm about 10 feet away, and my bag's there. And I remember her screaming, he's screaming, she's swatting. I know this is like a, Christian radio podcast here, but she took her clothes off. I mean, she threw them off. She was ripping her wedding dress off.
Serious.
And I was like, oh boy. And she had Spanx on, but that's pretty much it. So we're swatting. She's freaking out. Bees are stinging her. They're stinging him. He's picking her up. He's grabbing her stuff. I'm grabbing my back. We're running about a quarter mile on the trail, and these bees are just following us.
No way.
Yeah, and she got stung 20 times, and he got stung like 10 times. I didn't get stung once, which I'm like, okay, Lord, like, I understand they got stung. Like, why didn't I get stung? But maybe I'm allergic, and I don't know yet. But I got lucky there. But
she did too. You think about it.
Yes, she could have got stung worse.
Oh
but,
gosh, yeah.
And it was just a 4-hour session past there, so. They had this post-wedding adventure shoot planned in Tahoe. It's just a 4-hour shoot. 2 hours into it, she got stung. She went to the little store in Camp Richardson, and she cleaned up. And she's real petite, like you would not think.
Yeah.
She's strong, but anyway.
She
washed off, and she said, let's keep going. I'm like, are you serious?
It's awesome.
I was like, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of crazy stories that I can tell you. I'm going to write a book someday.
You
Promise.
should. I'll read it. We'll have book club, a small group book club.
Yeah.
What have been maybe a few of the most unforgettable shoots or pinch me moments that you have had?
I mean, obviously Mount Everest Base Camp is pretty special because it was something I've always wanted to do with a couple. And just being at base camp and sleeping in a tent overnight and hearing crackling below you from the glacier below and hearing avalanches around you. It was very surreal because I've always wanted to be there and to see Mount Everest. That was a huge pinch me moment just because, wow, I trained for a long time to do this and I finally made it. And I got the couple, we got some photos. That was a big one. I think there's a lot of locations I travel to where I'm like, wow, sometimes I feel lucky. I'm like, wow, there's a great sunset. It's a great view. I've never been here before. And it's just like the first time you see something and you're like, this is so beautiful. Yeah. And it's quiet. Even in Norway last month, actually 2 weeks ago, hiking at midnight and the sun not going down ever. It was just a sunset for like a long time around midnight. And just being up there with only a few people and my couple and just the sound, and then the fjords around me and the blue colors and then the sunset colors and these mountains everywhere. It's like, wow, this is so amazing. So things like that. I'm always getting pinched at that. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's so awesome because you get these calls, you get these bookings, and people fly you all over the world to do their pictures. And I love, like, you are really a big deal. And I love that you always act like you're not. Like, no, this is just what I do. And I think that's a really, really good, you're just a humble guy. And I feel like if people were flying me all over the world to take pictures, I would be like, do you know what? These people, if they flew me across the world to take their pictures. So anyway, I'm proud of you for your humility and also just your giftedness. God's given you a tremendous gift, Charleton Churchill.
Yes.
It's been
thankful.
Yeah. Just to list off, I didn't ask you this before, but some of the places that you've been, like different countries. It's kind of
it's pretty awesome.
All over.
Yeah, we were supposed to go to one of the places you liked, which is the Switzerland, the what's it called, the Matterhorn, in 2020, and Bali in 2020 during COVID, but that got canceled. That was one of the big shoots. I had a couple who asked me, "Hey, we want to take you somewhere." I was like, "You want to take me somewhere?" Yeah, we want you to do a photo shoot of us, but we want to go wherever you want to go. I was like, wait, why me? She goes, because you're invested in it. You're passionate about it. So where do you want to go? I said, well, I haven't been to the Matterhorn yet. I said, we're going then. And I was like, okay, we'll see. So she calls me 2 days later, says, I'm serious, we're going. I'm like, okay. So then she did the contract, she paid. I'm like, okay, this is serious. So yeah, I'll get couples like that.
That is insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. How do you prepare mentally and emotionally, logistically, all of it for it's such high stakes, as you're in remote and rugged locations. And how do you do that?
Well, it depends. Like if it's Yosemite and like Tahoe, like I know those areas very well. So I hike there a lot. I always try to hike Yosemite in new places. So I'm always trying to find new locations for my couples. Taft Point was like it was a spot where there was never any photos online of Taft Point with wedding couples. When I did it with another couple in 2015 for the first time, it went viral because no one had ever been up there.
Yeah, they didn't know where you were doing
like,
the shoots.
Where did you shoot that? I was like, I'm not going to tell you that. But it's the most popular spot in Yosemite. But I always try to find new locations for couples. So like for me, I'm always hiking and that's easy. But when I go like Mount Everest or Norway or somewhere, I have to train if we're going to hike far. And Everest, I'm literally hiking on a treadmill. I'm on a treadmill or a what do you call it? Those little Stairmaster,
yeah.
with a backpack on, watching a movie, just to kind of get my legs worked up. Or even Mount McKinley in Alaska, and really hardcore training physically on a strict diet. But if it's like local, I'm not really hardcore about it. I know what I need to do. Emotionally, I mean, I'm always, when I go to a photo shoot, whether it's small in my backyard or somewhere far, I'm always praying for my couples. I do pray for every couple, and I do ask for God, number one, to bless them, that they be happy on their wedding day, they get amazing photos, and that the chemistry is great, that they last a long time in their marriage, they forever, as much as possible. And then I'm also praying for creativity for myself. Lord, I just want to be, I want to be open to what you want. Give me ideas, give me fresh insight, give me creative juices so that I can be strong for this couple and give them the best photos of their life. So that's kind of what I pray emotionally and spiritually, physically, obviously training. And then I do a lot of scoping too. So if I haven't been somewhere, I'll do a lot of Google earthing, and I'll look at where the sun's going, where the shadows are going to be cast, certain locations, where the stars are going to be, where the moon's going to be, where the direction of the moon, what time the moon's going to be up, a certain time. If I want star shots, we plan for that. So I'll say, hey, this is the night for it. The stars will be out. There's no moon at midnight. We can shoot here. Like I'm really mapping out the best locations where the sun's best going to be. So I do a lot of.
You do your homework.
I do my homework. Google images. I look at different wedding images, certain locations. I try to find places where hikers are, but not wedding couples. I'm like, okay, a wedding couple's been there. I'm sorry, a hiker's been there, but never a wedding couple.
Yeah.
How do we get there? So I'll try to find as much as I can that location, and I'll shoot there. Like Norway, the spot where I shot these last few weeks. When I first shot there in 2017, there's only a few pictures online. And I'm like, I need to find that spot. I saw a hiker there by himself. I said, I got to find that spot. And then when I went to Norway with this couple who lived in Norway and Germany, they said, we know that spot. So we flew there overnight, 2 hours sleep, literally left my main bag in the van and just flew with my backpack because that's all the time we had to get on that plane. Got there, it was sunny. We showed up. I'm literally hiking this mountain going, where's this mountain that I saw online? We're like looking for it. We probably hiked for 2 hours, like trying to find this spot. We finally found it. Sunset just hits. We have 2 hours to shoot. I mean, it was that fast. And those pictures were amazing. So now couples see that and they go, we want those photos.
Yeah.
That was like hard work and adventure and exploring and finding. So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So when you talk to couples too, there's this element of, okay, if you want to go to Yosemite or Tahoe, I know some easier spots. And you have some really cool locations. People don't have to hike 20 miles to get there. You have plenty of those. Yeah. But there are people that want adventure and you do your homework. Like you're going to hike. And so are you asking them also, like, you need to get yourself in shape because... Yeah.
Well, I have some couples who are like, hey, Charleton, like New Zealand, we hate hiking.
Yeah.
We do not want to hike. We don't want to sweat.
Yeah.
We just love the views. Please show up. and give us some amazing pictures with views. So yeah, I have to figure out what couples want. Do you want a lot of adventure, or you just want to, 1 mile hike and a few cool shots? What do you really want? So it's really up to the couple. If they want a lot of hiking, I always try to discourage too long of hiking. I've learned I've had trainers, CrossFit trainers with me who like, oh, we'll hike this spot. And I got, 16 miles in one day with a wedding dress is just crazy, but she did it. And towards the end of the shoot, she goes, I feel ugly. I feel gross. I'm all sweaty. My hair's all nappy now.
Yeah.
It's just not good for pictures.
Yeah. Yeah. And you were telling us a story about a couple that they did not want to hike. And so there was like a helicopter that flew you guys out, right? Like, so you're in for all of it. You'll do all the fun things just to get the good shots. I love it.
Yeah. The pilot's like, these guys are crazy. We drop them off on a ridge. Just has a big fat cliff. And just hunker down.
Oh my gosh.
And they're like hunkering down on a cliff. And they're like, what are we doing up here? And they get in the plane and they're like, that was crazy. I'm like, that's part of the adventure. That's part of the whole, you didn't have to hike anywhere. You got dropped off on this mountain cliff, and they were so thankful for it.
It's awesome. I love that you're up for all of that.
Yeah.
How do you balance adventure and work with real life, relationships, rest, your walk with God, all of it? Because you have a wife and you have 3 girls and your schedule's crazy.
Yeah.
You're so busy. So how do you balance it all?
God provides the right amount of jobs. Mm-hmm. Like I don't overbook, I don't underbook. It's just God provides the right amount. He always scares me where he's like, okay, you may not have enough this year. And I'm like, oh Lord, what's going to happen here? And he always shows up. He always takes care, but he challenges me. Do you still trust me? Every year you can depend on your own works and your own, goals and whatnot. But do you still trust me? So God's always calling me throughout the whole year, whether it's, out of season or in season. But yeah, I'll try to, I like this year, I probably have like 44 so far on the books, weddings on the books. But I do have a down season. It's usually the winter time, and that's my time a little more to kind of spread out and relax a little more. And I go to the gym, 4 or 5 times a week, but during the wedding season, it's kind of hard to get to the gym. But yeah, I'll do a wedding on Saturday night. I'll come home around midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, just beat, dead tired. And I'm waking up. My wife's like, "You tired?" I'm like, "I'm going to church. I am committed to church. I'm committed to being involved with my family, regardless if I'm tired. There's no excuses. It's like I'm here. It's not about just showing up. It's about being part of the body of Christ. And so for me, church is important. My family's important. Getting out, going on the paddleboard, going on vacations. Even though it's a busy, I'll do a vacation with my family mid-season, just because I need it, but also my family needs it too. So yeah, it's just making time. It's no excuses.
Yeah.
Making time for your family, making time for God, making time for your friends. That's important. So yeah, I feel like it's a balance, but also I am pretty overwhelmed with editing, and I'm trying to give off some of that stuff right now so I can have more time.
Yeah.
It's important.
You are really busy. What is something that God is currently teaching you in this season of your life and business?
It's always a tough one because, when you ask that question, you can ask me last week or this week. And
it's going to be different.
Brand new.
Yep.
And, it's so funny because you read a book and you're like, oh, God, you just broke me. Like Matt Brown's book on miracles, Praying for a Miracle. It just like broke me because it's like in the book he talks about even Jesus talking to Philip saying, hey, have I been with you so long and you still don't believe me? Like, you don't know who I am? Yeah. I'm like, Lord, like I've been with you so long. And I can see God saying the same thing, like, do you still trust me? Like, do you trust me in these moments, in your finances, in your, even like, I'm 51 years old, and it's like, how long can I do this for, You think about your future, and it's like, what's going to happen? What about retirement? What about leaving a legacy, and what's going to happen later with my kids? Like, you start thinking about the unknowns, and God's like, just trust me. Just trust me. And God's like, do you still trust me? Yeah. Over and over again. Do you believe in prayer? Do you believe in, because I think everybody believes that there's a God who does miracles. He answers prayer in a categorical context. That's who God is. But can he do miracles in my life?
Yeah.
Can he do miracles in your life? Do you believe that God answers prayer in your life and your friends' lives? And even the hardest things in life, can God reverse things? It's just crazy. yes, he can. Can he do it in my life? It's like, I don't know. He can. And then when God does a miracle, when he answers a prayer, and we're like, oh, that was science, or that was this. And you start, then do you really believe God, Anyway, it's a trust thing right now. I think God's just testing me and challenging me to trust him more in a deeper way. That's a little harder. So I have this verse I want to share with you from John 14:9. Jesus replied, Philip, I have been with you for so long. Don't you know who I am? If you have seen me, you have seen the Father. How can you ask me to show you the Father? Don't you believe that I am the one with the Father and that the Father is one with me? What I say isn't said on my own. The Father who lives in me does these things. Have faith in me when I say that I am the Father are one. Or else have faith in me simply because the things I do. Now he says this, I tell you for certain that if you have faith in me, you will do the same things that I am doing. You will do even greater things now that I'm going back to the Father. Ask me and I will do whatever you ask. That's crazy. That Jesus would say, you will do greater things than me. Wow.
Yeah.
Like, do we really believe that? And in this book just comes to life, just God answering prayer and God giving Matt a vision. And so through this book, this is what I'm being challenged with lately, just trusting him more in prayer, trusting him more and being more intentional in my prayers and being bold but humble and making God holy again, right? Not like your homie. Like Brian always says, like Jesus is not just our home. He's not our homie.
Yeah.
He's our holy God.
Yeah.
And sometimes we nonchalantly, God, help me with this. And we don't really come to him in boldness and in humility. We come to him with demands and like, God, you have to do this. God, you have to show up. Instead of getting on our knees and saying, God, you are holy and you can do this. You are able. And I humbly ask that you do this. It's a humble way of asking. So anyway, that's what God has been teaching me lately.
Yeah. I love what you said too, because it is so different. Like right now in your season, that's what he's speaking to you. And then next week we could talk and it's something
Exactly. Yeah.
like he's always at work in us. We are always being refined and it's no joke. What advice would you give to someone who feels called to do a creative work, but maybe is nervous to start? So it could be photography. It could be kind of any line of creativity.
Yeah, I would say just jump in and just do it. Just go for it. Enjoy it for what it is. Like photography, just take photos everywhere you go. Enjoy it. And if you really love it, keep doing it. And then what I teach at conferences sometimes to photographers, I'll say the 3 Ps. Now it's the 4 Ps, but the 3 Ps are, make sure you have a good product. Make sure you're delivering something that's beautiful and good and you love it and you're serving it really well. So good product, and then promoting it. You have to get it out there. Like you can't just say these are great photos. You got to show those online. You got to show them on Instagram, social media, Facebook, whatever, and just get it out there, because if you want to get paid for a job, you got to let people see it. And that's a big one. And then the third one is people. You just got to be with good people. You can't be a person who's quiet and not assertive. You got to really, be out there and love people. That's a big one there. It's like if you love people and you love them really well and take care of them, even your mediocre work and your mediocre marketing can do really well because you're a good person. I've seen people who are really good with people. They're great with loving people, and their work is it's pretty good. It's okay. It's not great, but it's just okay. And they're getting lots of business because people love them.
Yeah.
And even marketing can suffer a little bit too. And you have a good product and you're good with people, it's totally fine. But if you're a mean person,
oh no,
if you're not nice and you're controlling and you're just a salesperson, but you're not a real person. Yeah. Your work can take a suffering. But the last P that I always say now at conferences, and it's funny, I'll say it. It's a spiritual one. It's so 3 Ps: product, people, promotions, and then praise and prayer. Thanking God over and over for providing for you. Yeah. And that's a big one. And I always tell people, like, I really believe God has led my way through this industry. Yeah. And at any moment I decide I want to take credit for everything I'm doing and look what I've done and look at all the pictures I've taken. God said, okay, he can pull the plug at any moment and say, let's see who's really in charge.
Yep.
And so I always say, God, thank you for providing for me. And I'm continue to pray and lean upon him. So that's my fourth one, my fourth P.
I love it. You're the real deal. You're out there doing a good work. And also, Brian and I have all these children. You've done 2 of our kids' weddings, and they're the most epic, beautiful. You do such a great job. Like such a great job. Where can people find you, follow your work, or reach out for a session? Give us your Instagram, all of it.
You can find me on the Daily Pour. No, just kidding.
Yeah, you can.
On Rachel's podcast. Rewind this over and over again. charletonchurchill.com. You can just Google my name. You can misspell my name wrong on Google, and Google will correct you. So make sure you, social media, obviously Charleton Churchill on social media. Instagram is where I'm at a lot of times for most of my posts and my updates. I don't really update my website or blog very often, so it is behind. Yeah. But my Instagram is probably my most updated pictures that I'm doing right now.
Yeah. So good. You're like,
fun.
I feel like following you on Instagram, I always tell Brian, I think it's time for us to renew our vows and for you to propose again. We need an elopement, but he hasn't asked me again to marry him. But
let's just go to Switzerland. And
okay,
we'll do that.
Let's
just
do
get
it.
a ride off for that trip. And
okay, we're in.
I didn't say that. I was kidding.
Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, just giving our listeners a glimpse into your life. And I'm excited for people to connect with you, book you. And if anyone wants to get married and go to Switzerland, Brian and I and Kelly, we will be your second shooters, and we'll bring the people skill, all of it. We're there for you.
Yes, absolutely.
Thanks, Charleton, for being here.
All right.
Thanks so much for joining the Daily Pour podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you never miss what's next. And don't forget, the Daily Pour is on YouTube. We'll be showing up on video soon, so head over, hit that subscribe button, and be the first to see when we go live with new content. If you're enjoying the show, please take a moment to leave us a review. It really helps others discover the podcast. And if you know someone who'd be encouraged by this conversation, go ahead and share the episode with a friend. Thanks for listening. See you next time, my friend.